Hey everyone! Thank you so much for tuning in. Stubbs is here. Green Fire. How's it going? Guys, thank you so much for coming in. I'm sorry, I'm totally late. The lateness is 100% my fault. But I appreciate you guys sticking around waiting. It's a great episode of what do I call this? This a toy artist interview. It's been a while since I've done one, and I've got Nathan, a really fantastic, talented guy. I cannot wait to talk to him with a bunch of just beautiful work he's got on his Instagram. But anyway, speaking of him, here he is. How you doing, sir?
Hello. How's it going?
It's going great. Nate, can I call you Nate? Nathan?
Nathan. Yeah.
Nathan, yes, sir. Plastic Arcade. So, Nathan, how long have you been doing toy photography? Because when I look at your Instagram, I see a lot of very, I don't know, polished looking stuff. Like you've been doing this kind of thing for a really long time.
If you want to get technical, I've been doing toy photography since I was 6, and I stole my mom's camera and I was taking pictures of toys, but they were
Before it was a thing.
not even like good at all. It's mostly like Legos and GI Joes in the mud.
Yeah, but you gotta. That's your foundation. I'm sure that they're amazing, especially for being 6.
They weren't bad, I guess. Yeah. I should see if I can find some of them and pull them up sometime.
That would be super cool. That would be super cool. But what about your official something where you can say I do toy photography? When did that begin?
I started getting back into it a couple years ago, and I never really shared a lot of stuff. A friend of mine really likes taking pictures of toys too, and he kind of like convinced me that I should start putting it on my Instagram. And so that's when I kind of started doing that. If you can scroll back, and you'll see like earlier stuff is like not toy photography. It's a lot of like fabrication work and miniatures and stuff like that, which I still do. And, if people are interested in that, I will absolutely post a lot of that kind of stuff. But
which is also really cool.
Yeah. So, but I have a background in multimedia development and in studio photography. So right out of college, a friend of mine hired me for his media company that he had. And I would take product photography for people's websites.
Wow. So what a perfect recipe for like what you do now, like building beautiful things that are a lot of miniature things. Oh,
that happens a lot.
And studio photography, product photography. It's almost like all of these things were just like devised by the gods for you to start creating toy photos or doing toy photography. Wow, this is like I've never scrolled this far back, and this is just really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start with some of the background stuff. Okay, so I'm looking at this Mando right here, and this is something that you sculpted digitally.
I made that, yeah. I sculpted it on my iPad actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool. I know nothing about digitally sculpting things.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this and I'm just like, wow. Like
I saw the
first
episode of Mandalorian, and when I had finished watching it, I grabbed my iPad and I started making that.
Dude, that is so cool.
So I was just like, this is cool.
And so here it is after it's been printed, right?
Yep.
3D printed.
Yeah, that's the 3D print. I never actually finished it. It's still sitting like that on a shelf somewhere in my house.
Does looking at it again right now give you some, maybe I should
I might make a tutorial out of something with that maybe.
I would love that. And so, and I'm just looking at this too. Like I love there's like a stylization to this Mando. He's almost like slightly cartoonish. It's almost like if he were in Clone Wars.
That's kind of what I was going for. Yeah, like a Clone Wars style. Yeah,
and that's so cool. Would love to see him in something like that. I'm sure that'll happen some way, somehow, someday. Don't self-destruct, right? First episode back in 2021. So, okay, And so this is some foundational stuff. Like, wow, look at this.
Not all this stuff I made myself. Some of these things are things that I 3D printed. Um, so this is Dragon Trappers. They make D&D miniatures, essentially.
Cool. That's a
So,
big miniature.
yeah, he's about 12.5 inches tall.
That's so cool.
He's
And this guy reminds me of
Ninja Turtles a little bit.
Ninja Turtles. Isn't there a character from Kung Fu Panda that's like a
Yes,
turtle like this?
absolutely. Yes, actually, yeah.
That's so awesome. And I love the mushrooms and stuff on his back. So awesome. And so, okay, so we're building up, and I mean, I see all of this and I'm just
If
like,
you
wow.
go back down, actually, you can see the one that I used in my most recent shot. Too far, sorry. Go back to
This
where
guy
you
I
were.
know.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, so he was one that I've actually shot quite a few shots of.
Yes, I definitely recognize him. Okay, so I went too far back.
Yeah,
And
just above the Mandalorian stuff, right there next to the turtle.
this is awesome. Is this like an adult Grogu?
Yeah, so Ian Robinson, he's a sculptor for ZBrush, and he sculpted that as like a fan piece based on a art print. And
Cool.
this is something and we'll get to this, I guess, later, because you're going to get up to that image that I have, but I'll get into more detail about it. But that's the figure that I used in the image.
That's so cool. I love this idea of just like it makes me think like I can't wait to see all grown up Grogu. And this is that's super cool. Okay, so foreshadowing for the future. Actually, let's just go there now.
Yeah.
So the shot, here we go. And so this was your reflection shot, right?
Yes. Yeah. I had this
This
one in
is
my
so
mind
cool.
for a while, and I wanted to use that figure to do some kind of reflection of Grogu's future. And when you posted that you were going to do reflections this month, I was like, well, I'm already doing this anyway. So I know I said I wasn't
Perfect.
going to do any more competitions or community challenges this month or next month, but I kind of I'm doing it anyway.
Cool. When the
So,
inspiration is there, then
yeah, I mean, I
perfect.
was kind of already doing it. So,
Right. Yeah, and this is so cool. So for this shot, you swiped and did some BTS. So is this diorama something that you made?
I built everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, man. That's so impressive. So and then there's a mirror underneath for the
There's a mirror underneath. Yeah. This month, that is the tutorial I'm going to be working on. I might not finish it till the end of the month or next month, but I'm going to work on that, the whole mirror trick and how to do reflective photography.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So when you post the tutorial, is it on Instagram?
So I've been meaning to do Patreon for a long time. And so I just set up a Patreon. It's been there. I just never published it for a long time now. So I'm probably going to start posting a lot of stuff on the Patreon.
Cool.
There'll definitely be some stuff that's going to be on Instagram still. And if I want to try my hand at YouTube, I might. I don't know how much time I have. YouTube can be a rough animal to tackle.
Certainly. Absolutely. But I will say that after you tackle that rough animal, it can be very rewarding because there's just YouTube is just such a massive place. There's so many people.
I'm definitely open to it. It's just a matter of if I could figure out how to get it to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Green Fire Monkey actually is asking, do you use a smoke machine or anything for smoke, like especially like in this photo?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have it right here.
Perfect.
My whole floor is covered in all of my equipment. Just in case someone asked about it, I have it at hand.
Nice.
So I use this guy right here.
Is that the Ulanzi one?
It is. Yeah, it works pretty good. Every now and then I get a little error on it, but it seems to work pretty good. Really? And I really love the fact that it has a remote.
Right. I've heard so much about that, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, at the price point, it's incredible. And it has a attachment here that uses like the standard bendy tubes. I forget what they call those, but
Right.
I should know engineering terms, but I forget them all the time.
Bendy tube.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it goes in there, and then there's like a fish filter foam thing that goes on the bottom, and that makes the fog get cold, so it sits down instead of rising up into like smoke.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Also going to be doing a tutorial on that.
Awesome. I always wondered, because I've seen it. It's like, wow, it's always just nice on the bottom like that. So that's why, because it's cold.
It's great. You can blow it around a little bit, and it just kind of moves and swirls.
Cool. Man, okay, I gotta get one of those and just like open it up and do a video or something. Maybe I'll wait till you do your tutorial so I can watch it, educate myself, and then do it.
So those are the two tutorials that are coming: is something on smoke and something on mirror effects.
Cool.
So
sounds great. I can't wait. Because those are two things that I certainly don't have much or any experience in at all. So I'd love
okay, it's a picture of water, right? Not to jump into the deep end here, but mirrors are complicated when you start doing stuff with those. You can really frustrate yourself fast.
Totally. Yeah, I use mirrors a lot, but mostly just as like a floor. I never like purposefully use it to like, okay, I want a reflection to look like this or something. I just use it because it's sometimes like a nice floor.
I use them to actually reflect light. So kind of like a reflector that you would get for photography.
Yes.
But what I do with them is actually you can shape light with them a little bit. Because if you get a round mirror, you're going to get more of a round reflection. If you get a square, you'll get a more square reflection. And so you can you can set that light just out of camera and reflect it off, and you'll get a pretty strong reflected effect.
Cool. All right. Well, you keep making me excited for that video. Can't wait to watch it, man. So speaking of Green saying nice Groot pick, this is an awesome shot. And I have tons of questions. And first one is, what's up with that Jedi robe he's wearing?
That's from my, let's see, was it 2003 or 6, something like that. It's a Hasbro 12-inch figure line that they had of Darth Vader and Anakin. It was like a 2-pack.
Really?
Yeah, and the clothes fit perfectly on him. So just to say, a note, if you guys have a Groot, you can steal your Hot Toys clothing and put him on it. He's about the size of a Stormtrooper body.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. And so this was just from an old Hasbro one.
Yeah. It was the Hasbro Darth Vader, Anakin, Revenge of the Sith one.
Wow, and that fits so incredibly perfect.
Yeah, I didn't even have to take his head off to get it on, because all of the clothes actually go over and around and kind of velcro and buckle.
Right.
So they actually designed the figure for the clothes to come off, which is unusual for cheap stuff a lot of times.
Yeah, it looks really good too. Yeah, especially like a Hasbro thing. That's more of a high-end kind of thing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And does the mustache come with this Groot?
It does. Yeah, it just magnets onto him. I thought the face just was great.
No,
I trying to go for anything specific.
I'm very glad you added that in, because it's really cool. And it does fit very well. So Green, you're not only throwing good questions, but you're throwing them out right before like I'm about to say them. So yes, how did you do the floating rocks?
I literally just held them there with my hand.
So you did each one individually?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So I took, this whole shoot was over 100 shots.
Okay.
And then I narrowed that down to 20.
Oh, okay. So one for each rock, and then one maybe with the dirt flying up, right?
I had about 3 with the dirt. I had a control shot, which was before anything, and then the rest were just rocks. And I picked the rocks that I liked the best and put them in there.
Cool.
Yeah. And I tried to make them further and further forward back so they have different depth. Instead of just holding them all in the same. So it
doesn't just look like it, right? So no,
right, like your video on focus line.
Yeah.
I wanted them out of the focus line. Yeah.
Cool. That's so awesome. Green seems to be very, very grateful. And it's cool too. Like it at first, when at least this is how I would have thought when I first started things, like, oh, that sounds like so much more work to do each thing individually and then do it in editing. But it's first of all, you can get everything exactly where you want it. Second of all, you don't have to figure out a way to like get them all to stand up or get them all in one place, all for one photo.
Right.
And it's just like, and then editing each one in there is actually much more simple
Well,
than
Photoshop
you
makes
think.
it so easy now with the way it has its selection tools.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Yeah, the selection tool. Yeah,
so
I agree.
but my computer has a heart attack when I start editing these images because I've had up to 300 shots in a single image before.
Wow,
And
that's crazy.
yeah, not toy photography, but in some of my Photoshop illustrative works I've done. They're not on my Instagram, but they're on my website.
Okay, and which is
Plastic Arcade, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. I had no idea it's such this massive what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm kind of a jack of all trades.
Well, yeah, jack of all trades, but just like a library of stuff.
Mhm.
And Corix, yeah, man. So yeah, there really is, especially with Photoshop and editing and stuff like that. There's like thousands of different ways to get to one journey, and I think that's so cool about it.
I will point out the reason I did go with just holding the rocks there is because I could put my hand more at the top. And if I would have done sticks and attached them all the sticks, that would have been a lot of sticks to edit out, for one. But also, I really didn't want to get in the way of the dust effects. And
Oh yeah,
that was really something that I thought ahead of time, and that's something I can tell people when they go out to shoot. Think ahead, like what you're trying to achieve,
yes,
which will help you kind of prepare for the shot that you want. I knew exactly how I was going to do this shot,
yes,
exactly how I wanted to achieve it, because I thought about it before I went out and did it.
right. It's like you have your own little visual effects supervisor with you on set while you're filming your movie. Like
Yeah,
you've got it all planned out in here. So then when you do go and edit, not only does it, I'm sure, probably look even better because you planned it, but makes it that much easier too.
yeah. The thing that frustrates me the most is when I knock the camera or knock the figure over, and then I have to realign everything up.
And start from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
Totally.
I don't. It just depends on whether I feel like I can edit it easier or start over easier.
Gotcha. Right.
So I started over with the Grogu reflection shot because I actually did that one twice. Totally knocked into the whole thing and knocked everything over.
Oh no.
Water everywhere, and it's like, nope, we're starting over. So I just started over from scratch on that one. It's not the end of the world; it just happens.
Yeah. Whenever I do that, I find myself being really upset at first. And like, God, I gotta do it all over again. And then I do it all over again and say, oh, that wasn't so bad.
That was a good day today for me, so I actually took it rather well.
That's good.
But there was a lot. I mean, I got water everywhere because there's actual water in that pool. So
Oh, cool. So much realism. Okay, this one I was looking at earlier today and I was like, what is that stuff? So tell me about this food. What is this stuff?
I made all that stuff. So
Awesome.
the chopsticks are just toothpicks that I whittled down with some
Okay.
sandpaper. Just sandpaper. The little whatever you want fruit egg things that are in the foreground that are blurred out, those are just BBs that I rolled in some ink.
Oh, like metal BBs.
Yeah. I
Okay.
just rolled them around in different colors of ink until I got textures and colors that I want. I've done
Cool.
stuff like that before in the past. It's a great way to give you kind of a spotted look.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That looks great.
And the rest of it I sculpted myself. So the bowls I 3D printed. The creature, all the food, things like that were just made out of clay.
Wow. And
So-
did you paint them by
Yeah,
hand to look like
yeah.
this?
I used powdered pigments. I was using ceramic clay, and it has a slight translucency to it. So when you paint it, you don't want to like overdo it where you paint over the entire thing.
Right.
So I'll use a clear primer and then I'll go with my colors on top, the clear primer.
That's so cool, man.
So,
So much cool stuff that I had no clue that you've been doing. Also, things I just have no clue on. Like, if I were like, I wouldn't even know where to start with any of this stuff.
pick up some Tamiya weathering powders, and you wouldn't believe how easy they are.
Okay.
And then
So
just
Tamiya
Mr.
weathering
Super
powder.
Clear them when you're done.
With
Yeah,
a
just
clear
Mr.
coat.
Yeah, just Mr. Super Clear or airbrush, whatever you want to use. Just
Okay.
spray them with a clear coat on top. I use one of my action figures to dirty them up. It's the best thing. It gives like a realistic looking dirt.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense as opposed to using like black paint or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And if I ever do any of this stuff, and if I put it in a video, which I probably will, just because I think it's cool, I'm obviously going to make sure I credit you because I'm learning it from you.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I'm going to try and get all this stuff up online. That's my goal.
Cool. Yeah,
So.
please. There's so much knowledge that you have to share with this stuff. Corix asks a question. I think it's a little unrelated, but I think it's a great question. I have a question for both of you. I have a Canon M50 Mark II. I want to get a new lens for toy photography. Just not sure what to get. I don't know. What do you think?
That's a big question because it's all about price range and what you want to achieve look-wise. Most of my shots, I could tell you right now that I used an $1,800 lens, so most people are going to go, I'm out. But that doesn't mean you have to have my lens to get the same effect. They make lenses for my camera that are in the $300 to $400 price range that are the same millimeter. So you get what works for you, and I don't ever advise people to go break the bank on something they're not going to use, or just to try out,
Totally.
So,
usually what I usually recommend for like, especially if this is like the first time you're buying like a lens, is just getting that 50 millimeter like f1.8 because first of all, it's very versatile and it's light and it's just like it's something that is, I think, pretty good for most things, and that can kind of be like a great starting point, and off of that you can kind of learn like what it is you like, what it is you want, and then maybe look into other lenses going forward.
My go-to lens is an 85 millimeter. That's generally where I'm at.
Nice. Same here. That's what I use all the time too.
So,
and it is quite great. So that's what I would check out the 50 millimeter. And it's a very common one too. I'm sure you'd be able to find a good used one or something too. So, and it's pretty cheap in general. It's only, I think it's like
yeah, I can get 50 millimeter lens that's just fixed for like $200 off from my Nikon. I mean, that's cheap. That's cheap for a lens.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I think it's even like f2.8 too, which is pretty good.
Great.
Yeah. So I mean, just look around. Yeah, get something used too, which is never a bad thing.
I agree. I hope that helps, Corks. And hey, Tuscan Trader, thanks for coming in. But this is just super cool because this is and I wanted to ask you what is in Mando's bowl, like because it looks like there's broth and liquid. Is that
I made a ramen bowl? Yeah, so I got noodles, I got like the daikon radish and the green onions and the whole thing. It's went kind of a multi-purpose prop there, but
cool.
So this was originally going to be my noodles shot, and I got it the last day, like the day of, and I'm like, well, didn't happen.
Cool. Well, I'm glad it's here either way. Man, that would have been the best of all the freaking noodle shots, but definitely better than mine. So awesome though.
It was an awesome shot you did.
Thanks. All right, man, there's so much more great stuff. I do want to say there's a couple. Hey, Shannon, it's going well. I hope it's going well for you as well. Green Fire. I actually have a couple skeleton videos on the channel. If you scroll down through the videos, you'll find them, and there's some pretty good ones right there for sure. And Jamie, that is such a big question. What I would do is go on a toy store like Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store and just kind of scroll and just have fun and look at stuff and see what looks good. And then if you see something that looks good, go on YouTube and look, and somebody made a video about it, I'm sure, and just that alone will be a fun evening of just looking at figures, at least for me.
Yeah, I do something similar to that, honestly.
Cool. Yeah, it's fun because there's just endless amounts of stuff out there. Um, and Jared says, "What's up, Jared? Jared, hope you're having a great day. I'm glad you're here too. Thanks, man. And hey, Travis. Okay, so I do want to ask about this one, but this one right here, I remember when I first saw this, I was like, wow, this looks like incredibly, I don't know, just right out of the movie, right out of the show.
My nightmare shot, yeah.
But the light and I'm reading this and what you put in here and everything. So, yeah, tell me about this incredible shot.
Yeah, this is the thing which has been rednecked cobbled together.
Redneck cobbled.
That's creating that light on the floor. It's just a bunch of tubes that I just put together with a screen in the back. That was the hardest part. Good. Just getting that in focus because, and I don't know where my head was at. Logically, I knew exactly how to produce this shot, and I tried a bunch of different things. And then halfway through, I'm going, "What the heck am I doing? I know what I'm supposed to do here." And then I stopped, rebooted, went back the next day, and I built that lens. And I was trying to do it without the lens, which isn't impossible, but you're going to make yourself have a headache, or a coronary trying to get it to work. That's what you want to do. And that's just a magnifying glass I took out of a toy.
Really?
So, yeah. So I had this old toy magnifying glass I took apart. I put that in there, hot glued it into a tube. On the other end of the tube, I put a mat that I wanted, which I did laser cut, but you can just cut it by hand. You don't have to laser cut. I was just lazy. And threw that in there and then hooked it up to my studio light, and it projected that image down on it.
So cool.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. I mean, obviously, everything about this, there's a lot of things that make this look so realistic, but that lighting on the ground is not something you see so often at such a small scale. That's something you see so often in life-sized scale.
Right.
And so that is one of the things that makes you, even if you don't, your mind doesn't realize it, it's just one of the things that just, I feel like naturally your brain registers as, oh, this is real. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
When you look at the shot from the movie, most people will go and say, oh, must be a light coming through the doorway that's projecting that on. And that might be one person's thought. But if you really look at the shot from the show, you can tell there's like specular highlights on the head that wouldn't be there if there wasn't a light above him. Again, that knowledge in lighting and all that type of stuff, I see that kind of thing, and so then it's just a matter of recreating that. And that's what I wanted to do, is recreate it. So, but not entirely. If you look closely, there's some things that aren't Star Wars in there.
I was just, because I was noticing that in the BTS video of the stuff to the side. I was like, oh, I didn't notice whatever, like this stuff over here.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? Is it just like props from other figures and stuff?
It's actually ET stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's actually ET's hand coming out of the...
Okay, that I was thinking that too. I was like, is that Grogu's hand? Because it looks really articulated. I was like, does Grogu have such long fingers?
Well, I was going to pop a Grogu hand off originally, but I thought it would be more comical if I threw that little extra.
Well, I think it works not only for the novelty of it, but it has such a stronger silhouette than I think a Grogu little nubby hand would. Mm-hmm. So I think like it works for the photo in general. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that was just a great choice. And and of course everything behind here looks like you made all this, like the door.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just cardboard and plaster.
Well, it looks so good. It looks so good. And there's your little handy thing. Dang it, that is just so awesome. And that was just a magnifying glass that you use and hot glued it in there.
Just a magnifying glass, yeah.
Hey, Gashes. Yeah, so cool, man. That is it's just an incredible shot. And
Just duct tape to my shade.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Well, thank you. I that is one of my favorite shots that I've done so far for sure.
Man, and this is a hot toy too, so it's pretty big.
It is. That's another thing that, like, if you're getting into toy photography and you want to build sets, don't do 1/6 to start out.
Right. Everything's
mean,
literally
unless-
twice the size.
Unless you want to go through all of that crap to actually figure it all out. I always suggest people do like the Black Series size, the 1/12.
Yeah, I get it.
It's just easier to build stuff.
It's easier to build stuff, and I feel like it takes a certain bit of confidence to move your like if you're switching from a 6-inch figure to a 12-inch figure, you got to basically move your camera back and get so much more around that you weren't getting before to fit this big figure. And there's so much more confidence I feel like you need to be able to, like, okay, I need to make sure everything else looks good too, and the figure's bigger. So like, I feel like I have to, I don't know, be really comfortable with the way everything looks in order to. I don't know if anyone else can relate with what I'm trying to say, but because I rarely ever shoot anything that big, so.
I enjoy the challenge of it for sure, and I actually prefer the scale now that I've been doing some of it. But it is definitely more challenging, and space is an issue. Space is my problem, really.
Yeah, I think that's something we could probably all relate to at least a little bit. Yeah, space as a collector or a photographer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're building a set that large, you're talking 1/6.
Yes.
It's big. And
Still
you can't
big,
see it in the shot, but in my behind the scenes, you can see that I actually tacked on a piece of cardboard because the wall wasn't high enough.
I didn't notice that.
I mismeasured the wall and it was too short. I'm like, crap. And so light was leaking in from
Oh
behind.
yeah, I see that now.
And so it's
crazy.
not textured or anything. It's just a piece of cardboard slapped up there because I was not going to go through making another wall. So
it's crazy.
Improvise when you need to.
Oh yeah, a lot of last minute in the moment improvising. Yeah, such a great shot, man.
Thank you.
Comic Dad. I found it more challenging to shoot my 1/4 scale Ninja Turtles as opposed to my step. I mean, yeah, you're literally going what? Quadruple the size.
1/4 is usually 18 inches.
Yeah, those big NECA figs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I don't know where
I don't even remember when you did that, man. That's so cool. All right, we got so much other great stuff. So this one here, I don't even know, like.
That's completely Photoshop. I decided to throw one in.
Oh, really?
It's all photos, so it's all real photos. But it was not a set that I set up. It wasn't something that I built. It's real cliffs, real mountains. The swordfish in there, I made that out of photographs. I want to get the model kit, but I just haven't done it yet.
The swordfish is the ship?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that from?
Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I love Cowboy Bebop.
That's one of those that I watched the one time and I was like, that was good.
Yeah.
And
that's my
I never
favorite.
felt any need to go back. Yeah, it is a good one. So the sky and the mountain, did you shoot those and bring them in, or
some of it is stock? I have Adobe stock account, so I grab Adobe stock when I need it and I'll use that. Some of it's my own pictures.
Adobe stock is very handy, but it's like anytime I've considered using it, because I've only used it a couple times, I always just feel like I'm spending so much.
Well, I mean, you can actually use a lot of the free images too for a lot of stuff.
So if you, and I'm asking this because I just legitimately don't know, if you have, is it a separate? Because I think I have the whole Creative Cloud subscription. Is
Yeah.
it another add-on subscription to it, or
If you have the paid account, yes. It gives you a certain number of purchases a month, and
per
then
month?
yeah, and so it's based on the quality and size of the image. The nice thing is that Adobe will give you a low quality image that you can download to try out and see if you
Right.
like it before you spend the money.
Cool.
Because you could spend hundreds making an image like this, going, well, that's the wrong picture. That's the wrong picture.
Right.
You know, and so there's probably 25 photos in this picture, separate.
Oh, wow.
photos. Yeah, I didn't pay for all of them. Some of them were free. Some of them were mine. And if you go with the free Adobe stock, you just have to read the stipulations for using it. So download, if you're going to use it commercially, make sure you download one that says you're allowed to use it commercially.
Right.
Most of them are in free use in the sense that, like, if you're using it in this video, it's fine, or you're using it for your YouTube page. But if you're selling a product, that's another thing altogether.
Totally. 100%.
You know,
I get
so this image I would probably never sell a print or anything of, just because I know there's some images in there that are kind of gray area, and I don't want to like violate copyrights.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so
cool. Yeah. Well, this is really awesome, and this is one thing I'm just like, I have no idea how we did it. Hey, Tuscan Trader, I appreciate that, dude. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, man. All right. What else we've got? I mean, okay, here we go. We can just go one by one, really. This is just wonderful. Just the concept alone is great. Just sledding on the egg carrier is just like, that's such a great idea. And then
that was the first.
in there.
That was the first thing that I came up with when I got the figure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it back in January for my birthday, and the first thing I thought is, this looks like a sled to me. You know,
never thought that.
So I'm thinking, oh, Grogu, he's a kid, but he looked a little lonely by himself, and so I had my 1/8 scale, 1/10 scale, I think, BB-8. So he's a little undersized, but he worked perfect for this shot.
Oh, okay.
So he's like a baby BB-8.
1/8 scale, or one. What was that from?
Oh, let me see. It's
not a hot toy, is it?
No, it's a Kodo. Kodo Bukaya.
Oh, Kodo Bukaya. Bukaya.
Yeah, Bukia. I don't know how you say it. That's what I've always said. If I'm saying it wrong,
gotcha.
please correct me.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's him right there. And then I made this little scarf with wire in it, and it just went over him.
Great. You really do have everything on hand.
So
awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, in my opinion, like, coming up with a great concept or an idea is number one, and then like making it look great is the easy part. Like, coming up with the idea is really hard, something really, and that's like the most important thing, and then executing is like, this is just like the perfect combination of, you've got an amazing idea and it looks amazing too, you know.
I will tell you, I reshot this 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I shot it and I came back inside, I was like, I don't like it. And
oh, you're using that blower thing, the
yeah,
BB Nano.
Yeah.
With the BB-8 shot, BB Nano with BB-8.
Yep. With the smoke blower.
Oh, and the blow. Wow. Okay. Wow.
So now there's 3 shots to this. There's the main shot. There is the smoke that I did. That was probably 2 or 3 shots, honestly, the smoke that I put in there to get the volume that I wanted. Before I found what I really wanted, there was 2 or 3 shots in there really to kind of, because like the left and right side of the image just didn't look right. So I shot them separately.
Right.
So you got 2 shots with the smoke, the main shot, and then I did do some snow moving. So I actually threw snow up to get it some kind of splatter. So there's some chunky bits in there.
A little bit of that. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit of chunky bits in there too, so that it really looked like they were going fast. And then the rest was just a Photoshop motion blur.
It's a motion blur.
Yeah.
Well, it looks fantastic. I mean, you have achieved I don't know, me as the viewer, when I see that, I can tell they're moving. Like that's what my brain
Right.
is computing, and that's so you've definitely achieved that for sure.
Yeah. And the difficulty I was having with it was either it didn't quite sell the movement I was looking for,
Mhm.
or you couldn't connect with Grogu. And I needed you to connect with the characters. And I wanted
Right.
them looking in a way where it looked like they were having fun and not necessarily posing for a picture, but yet also looking into the camera enough to where it felt like you were engaging them.
Totally. Yes. Such tiny little details that are so important for.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
and
That's
the
so
blur
great.
on the scarf's real because I actually used the air thing to blow it around.
I was wondering that actually. I was
Yeah, so
wondering that.
that's all real. Yeah.
So cool. That's so cool, man. Green Fire. I think because I know you're talking about for that skeleton video. I think I just used that shoe polish for that, and I honestly don't even know what brand it is. It's just like if you go to Walmart or something, and like the shoelace section, they've got like black and brown different colors. And I probably put it in the description of that video too if you can't find it that way. It's just like brown shoe polish. But now I want to try that the powder stuff that Nathan was talking about.
You should definitely try the powder. Another thing, since we're talking about shoe polish, if you get just a regular Kiwi shoe polish or any brand, doesn't really matter. The
Kiwi, there you go.
the wax type that comes in like the cake or the patty.
Yes.
And then get a like a paintbrush, like any paintbrush you want, basically something with real stiff bristles, and cut them real short. You want them cut real short. I use a face trimmer, like a beard trimmer.
Okay.
Trim the bristles off, which gives you nice straight short bristles.
Oh yeah.
Then you take that in there and you kind of swirl it around in there, and just like you're dry brushing, you'll kind of put it in there, then take a little off on a paper towel, and then you can put it on the plastic, and it makes like rub marks and wear marks and makes stuff look aged and rubbed and beaten up.
Cool. Okay.
And you don't even really have to seal it either if you don't want it. Kind of just stays onto the plastic.
Wow. All right. That's great. Because there's sometimes where,
I would experiment with it first, though.
Right. Of course. Before you grab something expensive and stick it on there.
Yeah. There's no going back because it stains it.
Right. That's really cool.
So
I agree. Great tip. Great tip. Parzolander. And yeah, black acrylic with some water. Yeah. Absolutely. What's going on? Glad you're here. I just realized that. What is that? Oh wait, what? WSG? Is that what? That's obviously not what's going on. What's good? Gotcha. I got it. All right.
Tamiya panel liner is also good if people are looking for a ready to go wash.
What is it?
It's called Tamiya makes it. It's their panel liner. So it's already thinned out. It's a solvent based though. So you just touch it on places, it'll sink right into the recesses. And then you can use alcohol or mineral spirits and wipe away stuff that you don't want.
Cool. All right.
So there you go. A lot of aging tips here. I got to put all that in a tutorial.
I was literally just about to say that. Please do. Please do, man. All right. I was just gonna say we've got some great Wally ones here. This is just fantastic.
I'm a huge fan of Wally.
I've only watched Wally one time, and I really did love it. I really did enjoy it. And I feel like I've gotten more exposure to Wally through toy photography to make me love him even more than I did through the actual movie. So yeah, tell me about this one.
So this is a real simple setup. I just had a spot cone on the top. So basically it's like an upside down construction cone on a light, and it just focuses that light down into a more narrow beam.
Right. Like a snoot.
See right there. A snoot. Yep. I made mine out of some black construction paper, taped it onto my light. And other than that, I think I might have, no, it doesn't look like I did. I couldn't remember if I used a little reflector or not, but no, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Looks so good.
So, I mean, simple shot. I spent a couple days making trash, which sounds weird.
Yeah, the trash looks really good.
It's a bunch of crumpled up paper, and then I cut out some boxes and folded them up for takeout boxes and stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I can see the little pizza box over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, this, and you really are engaged with him, like in his emotion and stuff. You know, like, which is, I'm sure, was very important for you.
That's always my goal. Is my number one goal is not just to make a pretty picture, but actually to tell a story.
Totally. Yes, it goes
So,
that much further. Parslander, this is a great question. What do you do for a living? You should be on a movie set.
I've always wanted to do that, actually. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be like the guy that made all the props and like the little, like Phil Tippett, who made all of the Star
Yeah.
Wars animatronic stuff and like the puppets that they did. And yeah, I was always interested in that stuff as a kid. I never actually pursued that. But to answer the question, I was a photographer for a while. Technically still am. I don't have a lot of work in that right now. So I'm actually supplementing that income by working for home care services.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but my goal is to get back into doing more stuff. I would love to do stuff like this professionally,
Well, there are probably countless amounts of people that would benefit so much from having you as, I don't know, creating images for them, whether it be toys or any type of thing. There's just what you do is incredible.
And like I said earlier in the show, I did do product photography
right
at one point. So it's kind of where I started out.
Crixie says, do you have any back alleys diorama tips? This, I have nothing. I got nothing for that.
Yeah, I got a lot actually for that.
There we go.
So the easiest thing you can do, honestly, is if you have a nice printer or go to Kinko's and have it printed, is print out some pictures on a thick paper and then glue them to cardboard. Put it on a nice matte paper so it's not too shiny, and or dull it down with a matte spray or something. And they make great walls if you want an improvised wall really, really fast. I recycle all my Amazon, turn them into walls and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to get more complicated, I mean, there's stuff you can buy, which is like pre-made brick and pre-made stuff. But I honestly just use a lot of like toothpicks and popsicle sticks and things like that, and cut them into pieces for like wood frames and things like that for windows. Coffee stir sticks. So you got to get the wood ones. The wood coffee stir sticks are about a 1/12 scale size wood floor plank.
Okay.
So if you feel advantageous and you want to make your own floor, get some Mod Podge or Elmer's glue or something and glue a bunch of coffee sticks down to a piece of cardboard.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. There you go. Great tip, man.
Yep. And if you're going to paint it, make sure you seal the cardboard with a sealer first, because it will actually bend.
All right. Man.
Don't want it curving on you, unless you want a curved wall.
Unless you're going for a curved wall?
Yeah.
Artist Mario. Question for both. I noticed most behind-the-scene videos show y'all using a DSLR. Do you use mobile phones for any of your photos? Yes,
I do. It's been a while. I don't think I have any mobile phone. Well, no, I do. Actually, I do. The Mandalorian shot with Boba Fett. It's got to be an earlier shot. Going to be back further. There it is, right there.
This one?
Yep. That was shot with my iPhone.
That looks great.
That was to prove a point to someone that you can shoot a good photo with an iPhone.
Well,
and
very
cheap
handy.
lights. That was only about $40 worth of lights. It was 2 lights that I had purchased for $20 each, and just spent a lot of time cutting out paper.
Oh, that was my next question. I was like, where did you get the? Well, you cut that out. Wow.
Flawless. I cut it out with the Cricut.
So okay, I was going to say it would be great with the Cricut. Okay.
Yeah, I cut it with a Cricut. Yeah.
And is it like some type of soft, parchment paper behind it?
It is black cardstock.
Oh. No,
Oh, behind it. Oh, that's
behind.
that's a material they call mylar.
Okay.
It's basically like a semi-clear polycarbonate sheet. You can actually see some in the picture on the left side there. That white sheet is a piece
Oh,
of
that's
it.
what this is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's because I had a light actually behind there, and I didn't want the light so harsh, so I put the light behind it to filter it out.
Gotcha.
It's not a very great behind the scenes, but
Mhm. It's enough.
but yeah, so there was a light behind the light panels that were cut out, and there was the light to that white sheet behind that, which gave me a nice diffused Death
Yes,
Star lighting.
Right. So cool.
And a Disney Infinity figure.
Yeah. Which for a while, when when Disney Infinity stopped being a thing, all the stores just had overloads of these figures, and they're trying to sell them for like nothing, and nobody would buy them. Like Toys R Us, I remember having tons of them, and they were just trying to sell them for like $1.
Right. I actually picked up a bunch actually when they were getting rid of them.
Yeah, they're cool. I think I got the Darth Maul and the Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Sure,
I got all but 2 of the Star Wars ones.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool.
I like them.
That was definitely an interesting phase for a while with the mixture of physical toys into video games with
Right.
what Skylanders, I think, was the one that really started it, probably, right? And then Disney
Yeah.
Infinity, and of course Amiibos and Lego did it, and then people kind of got over it quick, right?
I thought the Lego one was going to take off more than it did.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, that is really cool. But I feel like that one was the least successful almost. Or maybe I just like heard the least about it.
I think the game just wasn't as good.
Oh. Yeah. Definitely an interesting thing to think about. Like very
So there you go. iPhone shot.
Yes. Sorry, tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There's your proof right there. A fantastic iPhone shot. I don't have a lot of on hand ready iPhone shots, to be honest. But I think what it is my confidence isn't there, because I know that it obviously can be done. Here's proof right there. But I always feel like if I were to give it a shot, I would feel less confident with it, because I'm so used to using the camera all the time and that one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can absolutely do tons of stuff, and there's so much.
There's lenses you can buy for them too that snap onto the front of the camera.
Yeah,
give you different effects, and
I didn't have one of those. I need to try that out more.
Yeah,
awesome. All right, let's see what we got. There's definitely a couple other shots that I want to talk about before I've got some questions on. I love how so much Mandalorian you've got.
I like that figure, so I shoot a lot of him.
Of the hot toy?
Yeah.
I think
that was my first figure, 1/6 scale figure I bought, was the Obi-Wan that's in that picture.
Is this a sideshow?
Yep. Yeah, well, Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan.
Cool. I love the inclusion of the Na'vi back there, because they totally fit as Star Wars aliens.
This was interesting because I used forced perspective to create them to make them feel bigger. Okay,
that was my next question, because I was like, I'm not familiar with any big ones. Are those just the McFarlane ones?
Yes, yeah, they do. Hot Toys does make a Na'vi.
Oh, do they really?
It's really expensive.
I can imagine. They're probably pretty big.
Yes.
Especially if they're 1/6 scale, then they must tower over, like this Mando.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they're actually considered 1/6 scale or not, to be honest. I was playing around with doing a little comic.
Cool. Give your cheapest grog and a bowl of noodles for the kid. You're out. Someone just got the last bowl. Huh? What? You want noodles? They don't have any. The relationship between Mando and Grogu is my favorite. Who bought the last bowl? Houdini. And it was Obi-Wan. That's great. What a great little interaction. And I see these are some of the same props from that last shot that we were talking about.
I shot them the same time, yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so that was the same surface.
Yeah. I've got, oh gosh, there's so many scales in here. The Jawas are probably 1/7 or 1/8 scale. Then I have
Okay.
the V in the back, which are supposed to be around 1/12, from what I understand. I have a 110 scale C3PO, and then I have the IG, which is probably somewhere around 110 scale as well.
Nice work, because everything is flawlessly.
I
in
don't know
there.
if I don't know if the behind the scenes shows what it looks like behind, but there's like cardboard and wood blocks and just all kinds of stuff piled up.
Wow, that's such a cool bar too.
Yeah, I made that too.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow, everything is just so perfectly placed.
I
All those
spent so much time
bowls.
on all this stuff behind, and you don't see half of it, but
Well, it still works great. Huh. Yeah, that's amazing. So much into the one shot. So well done. And I love the texture on the light in the back there.
that was just a piece of packing foam that came with a
Perfect.
TV. Cut a hole in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Those are great. Those are really great.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is fantastic, man.
I painted it with a tan color, and that was it. I mean, if you want easier background in your life, I mean, spray paint and a piece of foam you're going to throw out.
Yeah. Yeah, then you have one less reason for a big pile of styrofoam to be in a landfill somewhere.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right, I've got some really great questions that I want to bring up that were
right.
sent over from Instagram. So, but yeah, if you're not already, just do yourself a favor. Plastic Arcade. I mean, you can't get easier name to remember than that. Plastic Arcade, as it's spelled, just Plastic Arcade. Putting out this incredible, beautiful stuff. 382 followers. Crazy. Absolutely crazy to me. So, yeah, just please go and learn and absorb all of the knowledge from him. So great. All right, let me pull up my questions that I've got. What I did was I just kind of threw up ask me a question on Instagram, and so a bunch of people asked some great questions. So here we go. Boom. So this is from man, I'm totally gonna say that your name wrong, man. Saka Draharel Photography. I'm so sorry about that. But I'm doing phone photography, but I'm looking to level up. Where should I buy a camera from?
I buy most of my stuff from B&H personally.
B&H. I don't even know what B&H is.
It's a photography store in New York, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. I wonder if I've been there before.
I don't know. They're like Costco sized. They're huge.
Oh, wow. Okay, then I definitely, because every time I'm in like New York City or something, I'll stop by like one of those camera shops.
They've got a couple storefronts. I don't know if the storefronts, I don't think are that big, but they have a giant warehouse basically where they have all their gear, all their stuff.
Cool.
So that's where I usually buy. I have bought stuff on Amazon too, but I don't buy good equipment from Amazon. Like I won't buy a camera from Amazon.
Okay, why not?
Okay, well let me rephrase that. Wouldn't normally buy from Amazon. I don't like to buy that kind of stuff from third-party sellers, and a lot of the cameras on there are.
Right.
So with B&H or Adorama are two companies that I've shopped from a lot. When I'm buying something that I'm going to put my good hard money into, I'm going to buy it from some place that I trust.
That makes sense. Yeah, definitely makes sense. Yeah, a lot of, if you were to go to Amazon, a lot of it are like third-party sellers. Totally. Well, I mean, if you're looking for like a first camera, what I usually recommend, I usually recommend Amazon, but the first camera I usually go with is just like And this doesn't have to be like quote unquote first camera. It's a great camera to get started with and to go with for several years. But just like the Canon Rebel series is, like the T6 or T7. And most of the reason why I say that is because that's what I started using and I learned how to use it. It's pretty user friendly. Canons I think are easier to use than Sony's and Nikon, in my opinion. And I use a Sony now.
Yeah, I wish I had actually gotten a Sony when I got a new camera, but I already had everything Nikon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like I didn't want to have to rebuy all my lenses and rebuy everything, and so I invested in Nikon further. But I can't say I'm too happy with their autofocus. It's been an issue for me.
Heck yeah.
But my suggestion for cameras, if you're purchasing a camera and it's your first time, is do your research. Don't overbuy, and you don't have to always have, like a lot of people say, well, you need to get an SLR or a mirrorless camera or something like that. And you don't need to. There are so many cameras out there that do just as good a job, especially in this type of, sphere of photography. So I certainly wouldn't go and break the bank on a camera unless you want to and you have the money to spend on it and it's just something you want. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're trying to save money and you want to be more, cost effective, I can definitely recommend Canon. I've used those before. I've never used the Sonys, but I do like them. And they have their 3300 and their 4400 and 5500 series cameras in Sony, which are amazing.
Yeah.
And they're cost effective.
There is a lot out there. So yeah, go spend an evening just YouTube and stuff. Learn things and go with different people too, because everyone's going to have their own opinions on different things.
Just get the features that you want in a camera. That's really what it is. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And Tanner, killing it with that T7. Yeah, it's a great camera. Same with Andrew. Yeah, that's great. I agree. Parslander's still Nikon in it. Great.
Cool.
Yeah, they're all great.
I like Nikon.
Yeah, there's no side that I believe is better than others. It's just what you like. And
for those Nikon users out there, I can say that the best thing you can do is lock your autofocus onto your toy.
Okay, lock it on there.
Most of the Nikon cameras have it that been made in the last probably 8 years or so.
That's pretty cool.
So if you lock it on there, then it'll stay focused on that and it won't drift.
That's great. Yeah.
Or manual focus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'll usually autofocus it and then turn off autofocus so it stays manual on the spot that I autofocused it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Cool. I hope that helps your question, man. Spider B says, does he make customs? And I think we have certainly answered that question for sure.
That is something that is in the near future coming. I'm actually getting ready to design and make some of my own figures. And that's going to be something that will be coming on here sometime soon. That's
very exciting.
So, and yes, some of those people will be able to purchase if they want.
Well, I can't wait for that. That's so cool. Wow.
So,
big news drop right there.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So, like I said, go follow Plastic Arcade now, so you're ready for it when it happens. That's so exciting, man. Awesome. Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah, Frame Flick. All right, Spider B. Toy Guzzler says favorite book.
Hobbit.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm not really much of a book guy, to be honest.
I read more as a kid. I don't read as much as now. When I'm reading, it's usually to learn something.
Right.
But I'm currently reading C.S. Lewis Space Trilogy and liking that. So
cool. Well, there you go. The only books that I really expose myself to are I love listening to audio books, and pretty much only Star Wars because I just want to know more about Star Wars. So, and the most recent ones, I think, actually, yeah, the most recent ones I did were the Heir to the Empire. First and second one. I didn't do the third one.
I haven't read those yet, but I've read some of the Star Wars books. They're good.
Yeah, they're cool. Especially like, I love using Audible. There's a guy who narrates all of them. His name is Mark Thompson. It's incredible. All of the voices and everything he does are just wild. But it's very interesting listening to like Heir to the Empire, for instance, because it's interesting listening to that, like this, or reading it. It's like, okay, everything that's being told right now was all made up before the prequels even came out. And so talking about all this stuff, and it's just like, it's so interesting that the prequels haven't even existed yet. But very interesting.
People don't realize how much George Lucas actually envisioned.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, how much of it was there from the beginning. But yeah, really cool. Toy Guzzler always throwing in great questions. Heck yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. I agree, man. Next question is from Johnny from Ganja Wifra. What new camera accessory would you have tomorrow if money was no object? Great question.
A tilt shift lens.
A tilt shift lens. What the heck is that?
So it's a lens that bends in the middle, and then it has a floating lens on the front. And so you can actually ignore the focus plane.
So you can like have multiple things in focus?
In focus.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. So the way it works is you tilt your camera at a weird angle, and then the lens tilts back. The science behind it is kind of interesting. Essentially, you're manipulating angles. You know, so if you change your camera's film plane and the direction that it is, and you can refocus that film plane at a different angle, that lens allows you to grab and change the focus plane area. So I can shift it at an angle this way if I wanted and get someone in front and behind more in focus, or I could change it this way. You know, I can orient it this way or that way or whatever.
Cool. That's cool. I didn't even...
Very expensive.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I have thought about that. It's like, oh, there's got to be something that does this. And yeah, I guess it is. That's awesome. Cool. Great answer. For me, I don't even know. Honestly, I have no idea.
Or a new camera.
Yeah, actually,
because I always like new cameras.
That would be my answer. I would love the Sony A7 IV. So I've got the 3 right now. The 4 is just same thing, but it's got more features and it's got the nice screen I can bend and stuff. So that'd probably be it. I'd love one of those.
Yeah, and honestly, I would probably get a second camera. But yeah, if money was no object, tilt shift lens.
Yeah, having two would be great. All right, Johnny, great question as always, man. Tater Totaled, he says, how do you do lighting? So that's a loaded question for sure. But,
that's very broad.
But what's one type of lighting thing that, at least when you're doing a shot, that you try to make sure you keep in mind for in general, like a general thing?
I try to think about scale. That's very important because lighting changes with scale. And I try to think about the scene that I'm creating and what kind of lighting I want in it. You know, so if I'm trying to create something in daylight, then I'm going to focus more on getting my light to feel like it's daylight. If I'm focusing on something that's inside a room, then I have more avenue to play with lights and how I want it. You know, there's contrast values. You know, do you want your lighting to be really intense, like the Mandalorian shot? Everything's like backlit and from above, and there's like very little fill lighting going on in the whole scene. So it's very dark, but it's all about the silhouettes. It's not about, is everything perfectly exposed? So you kind of have to go into something and decide, what do I want my image to look like? Am I trying to do a silhouette? Am I trying to get a perfectly exposed photo of the character? You know, and I personally always go for mood over perfect exposure. And that's my personal preference. because I want to tell a story and I want
Exactly.
people to feel that photo and not just see everything in it, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh, geez. I'm just realizing that we're not answering his question at all, because he said, "How do you do lightning?"
Oh, lightning.
Thanks,
Oh,
Andrew. I would not have. Well, I hope Tater
my bad.
Toe-
I did not read it.
Me neither. How do you do lightning? Well, Nathan, if you have an answer for that, I'll let you answer.
We talking? Okay, well, I'll go Photoshop, because more often than not, I'm probably going to do Photoshop, not practical.
Yeah, that's one. Lightning. Yeah.
Practical lightning is difficult. Yeah, that's an entire stream discussion on how to do that. But maybe something I should tackle in the near future.
Get a Tesla coil.
Yeah. But as far as Photoshop goes, there's several methods you can use. That like pattern filter that you can apply, where you create a layer and then it creates like just a bunch of noise.
Right. Okay.
You can actually use that and apply a series of like blurs and things like that on it, and then make a selection out of it, and it kind of will select just the highlight areas and get rid of the other stuff. I'm not explaining that the best, but there's literally 24 or more YouTube videos. If you looked up on there, you could probably find at least 5 or 6 different ways to create Photoshop lightning.
Yeah.
You know, the glow effect to it, if you want to have some sort of glow or anything like that, you would do just like we do our lightsabers, you know, a series of blurs and
right,
you know, and filters on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to go into specifics, it would take me way too long to explain every step of the process. But again, if that's something someone wants to see,
let them know.
Sure, let me know. Yeah.
I'm also someone that would love to try and figure out how to do it practically, and I'm always been like, man, I'd love to get like a Tesla coil, make real lightning. But you can try to do light painting too to make lightning, which I don't think will look as good as like if you were to do it in Photoshop, but it feels more tangible, at least in my opinion. Like I actually made a video about it, to be honest, and it's just a bunch of light painting, and it's very fun to do, and if you do it, it will look like lightning, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you can do that. Light painting works really well. You could create a matte, cut out a matte and put light behind it if you wanted to do something more like the background.
Right.
So if you have a sky, so in a lot of my photos that I take, I'll have, you know, if they're not in a room, you know, and they have like a background in them, for instance, like the one with my robot that I had, that sky was just a white piece of paper that I reflected light on, you know. And so if I wanted to put lightning behind there, I could have used a piece of like acetate or some type of semi-clear transparent material, and then cut out that shape like a mat basically, and then put light through it, you know, in the shape of your lightning. And so you'd get something that's lit up because you'd put a light behind it, and it would create lightning in the background.
Yeah, that'd be
like
cool.
A stormy sky. But if you're trying to get like, you know, Sidious lightning, go Photoshop. It's just less headaches with that one.
Totally. Cool. And there's also, you can get little plastic pieces of lightning too. Yeah. So yeah, those are definitely around. Cool. Well, thanks, the Gaming Lizard. Appreciate it very much. And Tater Totaled, great question. Sorry we answered it wrong the first.
But they got a bonus question out of it.
Yeah. And next is from Action Photography. Ben says, when you first started in your action figures, what is your favorite part of the community? So what's your favorite part about the toy photography action figure community?
I like how friendly everyone is. You know, most people, when I ask them a question, they're like, oh, this is how I did this. Or I've already had a few people just kind of friend me on Instagram, and we're just talking back and forth and just about stuff. And so I just find art communities in general tend to be very friendly and open, and you know, and that's kind of how I am. I want to share my knowledge with other people, and you know, always remember that no matter if you think you know it all, someone can always teach you something you didn't know.
Yes, great
You
attitude.
know,
Great attitude. Yeah, you never know everything, and if you think you do, then you're not gonna learn, and you'll be stuck in one place. So you never know everything. So you gotta always be ready to take in more. But yeah, you're right. The toy community is the best. Everyone's after the same thing and always happy to share, and just it's very collaborative, and we all got the same goals, you know. And I think sometimes I think about that and I'm like, why is it like this? And I think, and maybe this is just me thinking too much, but like so many of us, especially myself, I don't really know anybody that does this kind of thing in person. I don't know any other action figure collectors or especially toy photographers that I know in person. So it's for us, it's like cool. We have this bunch of people online that do, and so this is like our only outlet to really interact with other humans that like the same thing. So we're just so excited that about each other, you know. But I don't know.
it gets me excited. I love telling stories, and so for me to be able to take an action figure or something that I've 3D printed or made and go photograph that, just I don't know, it brings me a lot of happiness.
Great. That's
Yeah.
great. Gaming Lizard. Awesome. Glad to hear it. And the figure arts, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is just a great figure in general for toy photography because he fits everywhere. Everywhere you put him, he fits. And so you have no boundaries. You can shoot him anywhere and he'll fit. I love that. All right, I think a couple more. Toys for Shots says, what's a shot you've attempted multiple times but never managed to nail it?
I always eventually nail them. That's the thing. I
Nice.
eventually get them. I mean, that snow shot I tried all winter, and the last shot was the last snowfall of the season before we had no more snow, and then I finally got that. So I mean, I did that 5 or 6 times, and we had a rough winter where we just didn't have a lot of snow, and it was all terrible. It all looked like
true.
ice or other things, which is why I did the BB-8 and Grogu racing shot, because that's what my yard looked like.
Nice. Okay.
And then I got that really good snowfall, like, the end of the season, and then I managed to go out and get the shot I wanted and finally get it. I just, just keep pushing and keep trying. If you get frustrated, move on to something else. I don't know how many shots in the meantime while I was waiting. I mean, that was 5 months between starting and ending that shot. So most people would probably, well, that's too much dedication. I give up. Don't give up. Just keep trying it. Go back, try again. If you don't know how to do what you want to do, look on the internet, ask somebody, ask the toy community, and say, hey, what can I do to do this? Right. This is what I want to do. So I'm too persistent and perfectionist to give up. So I eventually figure it out. It's just a matter of how long it takes me.
Totally. Yeah. And that's a great lesson learned. It's just like, don't ever think of never managed to nail it, because if you keep trying at it, eventually you will, if you keep trying at it. But like, it's also good too that you mentioned, if you keep trying at it, it's okay to go and do something else and then come back to it later. Because sometimes if you do it over and over too persistently, it can just be frustrating.
Also, I can add, let yourself be free to change your expectations. And I don't say lower, but change.
Cool.
So you might had an idea for an image and it's not working. And you're like, well, I'm going to give up. Instead of giving up, figure out how to make it work within your capability or within the time frame you have or whatever you have.
Nice.
Or come back to it and keep adding to it if you can.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes if you end up doing that, you'll be so glad you did, because you're like, oh, this is way better than what I originally had planned.
Yeah. It's like my Wally shot I actually did with the screen behind it. It's with the stars. That one was one that wasn't turning out the way I wanted, and I just really wasn't getting the angle I wanted, the shot I wanted, and it was really because I was trying to make it look like the poster. And so it's frustrating me a little bit. So then I came back a few days later and I had talked to somebody online, and he says, well, I use screens in the background. I'm like, man, okay, I've never done that before. And so that was my first time using a television as a backdrop. And he says,
Cool.
you'll get what you want if you do it. And I was like, okay. So I spent a few days photoshopping a background and putting it on there. And I ended up with that.
And it came out great. Yeah, that's a fantastic shot. Cool. Well, there you go. Toys for Shots. Hope that answers the question. And last one's from Lokilo's Hidden Gems. What is the technique that is most complicated for you to perform? For example, DOF, light, etc.
Depth of field.
Depth of
field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depth of field's a tough one because sometimes I find I want more in my picture than my lighting allows.
Mm-hmm.
And my camera has a pretty flexible ISO range. I can shoot up at 1600 ISO and get it looking like a 400 to 600 ISO image on the grain. So I'm blanking on it right now, but there's a website where you can actually put your camera in and it'll show you your ISO curve. And a lot of people don't realize that there's specific points in your sensor that are more sensitive. And so you can lower the grain and be at higher ISO if you're at that optimal ISO range. I'll find it and I'll send you the link, and then maybe you can share it with the community.
Cool. I would love to see that.
So depth of field can be a problem when you're at, for instance, again, the Mandalorian shot was f11.
Yeah.
And yet still a lot of it was blurry in the background at f11.
Definitely, yeah.
But I'm also at 200 millimeter lens because I really wanted to compress that depth.
There you go.
I think what helps you, going back to the question, what's most complicated? I think everything's complicated when you start trying to do something, and I am always trying to push myself, and so I don't struggle so much with lighting and depth of field. I eventually figure those things out. Exposures, because I've been doing photography for 20 years, and so those things, I just have numbers running in my head all the time, and I'll flip through camera settings and know exactly what I need my camera to be on to get the shot that I want. It doesn't really take much effort in that, but that's 20 years of using cameras that knowledge is now in my head.
It's natural.
So, but I do still push myself, like using the TV screen was something I've never done before. And it's a different kind of lighting because now I have to adjust my lighting for the TV screen because how bright is it? How much light is that putting off in my background? And then I have to adjust everything accordingly to that, and focus. Focus was tough because that was an older TV and the pixels were not so great. And I was trying to not have the pixels show up in the photo.
Right.
And so that was very challenging, very complicated thing to get the proper, and I didn't want to blur the background out so much that you couldn't see that it was stars. And so I think as any photographer plays with things and they start experimenting with things until they either figure it out or they get help from somebody, never be ashamed to ask for help. That's for sure.
Perfect.
And just whatever is tough, spend time on that. That's something I can tell you from like art school and stuff, was that if you have a hard time drawing hands, I know I'm using artist stuff, not photography, but if you have a hard time drawing hands, draw more hands.
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing with photography. If you discover an area you're weak in, spend a lot of time in that area and you'll get better at it. I wouldn't say I'm not perfect at anything for sure.
Yeah. Comfort zone. Go out of your comfort zone.
But I do so much photography all the time that a lot of it is just in my comfort zone. I'll tell you what scares me: taking weddings. I used to do that. I don't like that.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, no.
A lot of pressure.
That's a weakness of mine, taking portraits for people.
Yeah.
So there you go. I think it's that pressure. It's like,
it's a lot of pressure.
Dang, I got to nail this and I can't screw it up. And,
one chance for a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Won't catch me doing any more weddings.
Sounds good. Miniature people are better than life-size ones anyway.
It's certainly
You
a
know.
lot easier to photograph.
All right. Well, Nathan, dude, thank you for being on here and for
Mhm.
everything that you do. Give me some anything else you want to mention or plug or anything?
Yeah. So I was working really hard all this month actually to get my website up, Patreon up, all that kind of stuff. So it is up. So I got all those things up now. But yeah, like
Okay.
I talked about earlier, the custom figures and stuff that are coming.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that, working on building that kind of stuff. I think so some of that stuff will end up on the Patreon, some will end up on the Instagram, tutorials, things like that. I really want to share the knowledge that I have with others, and I like talking to people. And as I share things, they share things back, and that's just a
Yeah.
fun exchange.
Cool.
And the idea is I want to start creating my own world, my own universe, my own Star Wars. And so that's going to accompany some stories, background stories, potentially a podcast in the future.
So much coming. The whole
Yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes when I think about how much it is that I'm got in the works.
It's the whole franchise, the whole Plastic Arcade franchise.
Yeah,
Which works so well. The name Plastic Franchise works it's just like such a good name. It's just like it's easy, and it's just like it makes me think like, wow, I can't believe no one's taken this already.
I was surprised. I gobbled up social media and the website and all that stuff, back in 2015.
Still, yeah,
I was
I'm
amazingly
surprised.
surprised.
It's just for you.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not following him, I've got the link in the description of the video right here to follow. So nice and easy that way too. Everyone who's been watching, thank you so much. You guys threw some really great questions in there and just encouraging stuff. And I just appreciate you being here in general. And Nathan, thank you, man, for everything. And everyone have a wonderful night. And yeah, talk to you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.